Welcome back, Eric. James Bouligny here. I'm with the COVER1 crew today. It is week 10 of the Texas high school football season, getting down to the nitty-gritty. We got playoffs starting soon, and we're fighting for seeding. Before we get any further into it, I got to welcome my co-hosts, Paul Harris and Ryan Chadwick. Guys, how we doing?
Doing great, man. It's another week of football.
It was a weird week last week. All the storms blew through. We saw it coming. I didn't think we knew how bad it was going to be, but it hit, and it was terrible. We had games get canceled, moved to Saturday. And some teams just delayed their start. Some teams actually moved their start up to start earlier in the day. And we got through it, though. We're talking about week 10. Before we go any further, here a quick word from Kicking Cuts. Looking for a fresh cut without breaking the bank? Well, Kicking Cuts is now open at 4238 Sherwood Way. Haircuts start at $19 for kids and $22 for adults. They offer hot towels, beard detailings, multiple discounts, and they also sell hard-to-find hair care products. Kicking Cuts is locally owned, and they're ready to get you looking sharp at an affordable price. Kicking Cuts, located at 4238 Sherwood Way in San Angelo. All right, Chadwick, you went to San Angelo Stadium for Central versus Midland. Got a big district win over Midland. Bobcats did. Need to beat Odessa. How can they do it?
Man, honestly, if they just kind of play like they did against Midland High, then they're going to get it done. Despite the slow start where they failed on fourth down twice in a row to begin the game against Midland High, the Bobcats fought back, tied it at halftime, took that lead and really controlled the game on the ground from there on. Completely dominated Midland in the rushing attack, 261 yards on the ground. And held Midland to 215 yards total from their triple option attack. Coach Smith was pleased, let's put it that way. And against Odessa High, not trying to badmouth them at all, but Odessa High is 0-8 at this point. They're having one of those years where they're really struggling. I'm not saying that Central can overlook this because, because of the spread that Odessa High runs, you play around, all of a sudden you're down 3 touchdowns, so they can score quickly if you let them. I think that Central needs to just play solid defense and force a couple turnovers and really just pound the heck out of the football. Like if they get over 200 yards rushing on the ground again, they really control that clock. I think that's how they win. Another district win that would pull them even in district and really set them up for good playoff seeding as well.
All right. Central needs to win against Odessa. That game is happening in Odessa on Friday.
In Odessa at Ratliff.
All right. Paul, we got Lakeview, Big Spring. Lakeview has had a great season so far. Chris Alviso is the truth back there at quarterback. But they cannot overlook Big Spring, and they can't even overlook Andrews. We're talking about, week 10. But right now they have Big Spring, and they're 4-4. Lost to some pretty decent teams out there. They can't overlook them. What's Lakeview got to do?
Man, I mean, they really stepped up last week, and I think the biggest thing was the defense holding Pecos to 14, seeing something like that. That's just extremely encouraging because the offense is going to do what they do. I mean, Alviso only had 4 incomplete passes last week, 17 in a row at one point, 17 completions in a row. He did have 2 big interceptions, but it didn't really hurt him because the defense played so well and never let Pecos make a run. So to me, if their defense can continue to play anywhere close to that, the offense is going to do it. It's done all year, and I think that they'll win. I think that they're going to go into Big Spring and win. They've lost 3 straight to them. It's another road game, and it's Big Spring's got a tough offense. When I saw them last year, they run like the fastest offense I'd ever seen, so that can cause some problems maybe for Lakeview. And Lakeview has struggled to stop teams on the ground this year, so that's a concern. But with everything that's at stake, with everything they've been building towards, I really feel like they're just going to keep this going and get a huge win. And if they do that, they set up a district title game next week at home against Andrews.
Yeah, I've been looking at their schedule and the schedule of the teams they're playing, and I mean Andrews also, their record's not really indicative of how they've been playing. They've lost some pretty good teams, so Lakeview's just got to take care of business and do what they have been doing. Put up points. Defense needs to get a couple stops. Hey, you get a couple stops, that offense can score. So get a couple stops, make it a little easier on your offense, and then just play football.
I think the great thing about Lakeview, too, is it's not just that they're a passing team that could be slowed down if the weather is, windy or rainy. They can turn to Rios on the ground. So they've got a versatile, attack. They've got a bunch of receivers. Even Alviso can take off if he needs to. So I really feel good about, what they can do offensively no matter what the conditions are. And man, if they take care of business, that'd be so exciting next week to have a district title game for the Lakeview Chiefs at San Angelo Stadium to last week of the season. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would be. And if it wasn't for the absolute insanity coming out of Ozona with Christian Villarreal, Isaiah Rios has put together a really good season for the Chiefs.
I mean, shoot, he had a 65-yard touchdown that belongs on any highlight reel last week against Pecos. It looked like he was tackled behind the line. He ends up breaking a couple tackles, and he's just gone.
Yep. All right. We're here a quick word from Angelo MRI, and then we're going to talk about Wall, the Battle 377, and then Grape Creek game.
Have you ever needed an MRI? Do you know someone that needs an MRI? And did you know that you have a choice? When your doctor orders an MRI, tell them that you choose Angelo MRI. The founders of Angelo MRI started Angelo MRI when they faced the high cost of MRIs from traditional medical facilities. That's why Angelo MRI offers a better way, a high-quality MRI for just $5.95. And Angelo MRI accepts all insurance, saving you time and money. It's your health, your money, and your choice. Angelo MRI, 4114 South Jackson in San Angelo, or look them up at angelomri.com. Remember, when your doctor orders an MRI, tell them that you choose Angelo MRI.
All right, the Wall Hawks are on a bye week this week. Much needed bye week for the Hawks. They've gone, 9 weeks of straight football. Chadwick, you went out and talked to Coach Slaughter yesterday. What do you have to say?
Man, he was the most fired up I've ever seen Coach Slaughter, because it's like,
that's saying something, too.
And it's crazy to think about, but this is it's just a little bit past the halfway point in the Hawks' projected season right now. And they've prepared for this. Like, they're taking this week off. They had Monday off, and they went real easy on Tuesday. And then Wednesday was completely situational football. He was super excited, talking about how he was getting some practice time on stuff that other teams that might not really get to spend a lot of focus on at this point in the year. And I'm talking like, you have one play 30 yards out to score. You have one play you got to stop a team on the 20, onside kick, defense and offense situations, sprinting guys out there getting a field goal kickoff within 18 seconds, stuff like that. Just stuff that situations that happen in a game that you might not get to practice. But of course, they don't have a game this weekend. Had a really solid win over a really good Grape Creek team last week. Second shutout in the row, and they have Stanton next week, and I pretty much going to guarantee they're gonna cruise through that one. But Coach Slaughter's excited. This team is hungry, and they're just ready for the playoffs at this point.
No, we were talking about it earlier. I really don't know who stands in Wall's way on the way to Jerry World. I really don't. Gunter's not the same team they were last year. They're not as good as they were last year, obviously. But when you go to 3 straight state championships, you're going to graduate those kids. And Canadian is always Canadian. They're always going to be a good team. But I really don't know who stands in the way.
I would say Idalou did show.
Idalou played well.
They were only a touchdown down going into the fourth quarter, so that they could be a scary team. They've already seen Wall once too, so that could help them. So wouldn't overlook them. Maybe
I would not be surprised if Idalou beats Canadian this year.
But outside that, I mean, this could have lined up really well for the Hawks this season. And then our next game I'm going to Brownwood is the Battle of 377, the Brownwood Lions versus the Stephenville Yellow Jackets. Stephenville is ranked number 2 in 4A D1 football. They've only given up like 80-some-odd points this year. This Brownwood team, if you remember, we did go to the Wall game, and Wall put it on pretty well. They only really scored 3 points against the Wall. The Hawks did give up a touchdown at the end of the game to Brownwood, but much improved Brownwood team. They went Lampasas played them a couple weeks ago, and I thought, man, it's going to be a tough one for Brownwood to get over. And Brownwood beat them, playing a much improved team, Brownwood, this week. I'm really excited about this one. They need to beat Stephenville, though, and Stephenville's a tough test for them. For playoff seeding, this is important. They end up playing Lakeview's district. So, obviously, you don't want to play, I don't know if I'd want to play Lakeview. Lakeview's playing really well this year. So, playoff seeding, this one is on the line. Really excited about it. And then Merkel and Grape Creek. Grape Creek last week played Wall. Kind of a tough week for them. But they have a shot against Merkel. They've been playing really good football. Cahoma was a close game all through the game. It was really anybody's game up until the last, possession of the game. So I really think Grape Creek has a chance against Merkel. What do y'all think?
I think they do, and I think it's like we're talking about, Walls may go on and win state. They're a state title contender, and so it's unfortunate the other teams in the district they get outclassed by Wall. But I mean, there's some good teams in this, some solid teams. Grape Creek's a 5-win team. Merkel and Coahoma are both 6-win teams, and Grape Creek was right there with Coahoma, like you said. So just forget about the Wall game last week. Grape Creek's got a great rushing attack. Darrell West is a home run hitter. Sire Garcia is a solid back, and so I think it's going to be a close game. And if Grape Creek can beat Merkel, then they could finish as high as the 2 seed still, which would be huge because they're trying to get their first playoff win ever. They're capable of getting their first playoff win ever. Now, if they end up being the 4 seed, they're going to have to play a district champ. That wouldn't be, unthinkable that Grape Creek could still win over a district champ. But to beat Merkel, that sets them up to have a chance to draw a 3 seed or a 2 seed. So it's a big game. It's at Grape Creek. It's a game they can win. So Merkel and Coahoma are still to play next week, but it's a huge game for Grape Creek. I guess the biggest game in Tom Green County this week, really.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, I mean, that district they pull from, I think it's Odessa, Compass, Crane, Alpine, and Anthony. And I think it doesn't matter where Grape Creek falls. They could go out and get a gold ball for a playoff game this year. We're going to talk about our player of the week coming up. Before we do, here's a quick word from Shelburne Financial. At Shelburne Financial, you are more than just a number. They will help you plan for retirement, prepare tax documents, and more. Whether you're looking to grow your savings or plan for your future, the experienced team at Shelburne Financial is here to help you and guide you every step of the way. Give them a call at 944-9447 or head over to 3177 Executive Drive and invest in your future. Player of the week. Can't be Christian Villarreal every week, even though last week he had 380 yards. I mean, there was still 9 minutes to go in the third quarter when they called that game. But Saturday brought us our player of the week. Guys, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, man. Crazy finish between Brady and Early. Came down to a 2-point conversion in overtime.
Yep.
But yeah, Ashton Taylor from Brady. He had 25 carries for 205 yards and a touchdown, along with 3 catches for 53 yards. And he is the one who scored that game-winning 2-point conversion in that important win over Early.
No, we talked about this one. I was actually going to go to this one before the storms hit. Ended up getting canceled, moved to Saturday. But that was kind of a district championship game. Early's playing really good football, and Brady went up there and just handed it to him. Didn't hand it overtime. It was a great game, but Brady took care of business. And Brady's one of those teams that we don't get to cover a lot. They're on the kind of the outside of the Concho Valley with kind of Junction and Mason, but they've Jaron Taylor has built,
Jaron
Roberts
you, man.
has built a really good program out there in Brady and has them playing really good football. Sean Jacoby started as a sophomore at quarterback, took his lumps that year, but has really grown into it, and they have a really good team out there. They got DeMarcus Reed and Nasir Menafield up front on that defensive line. Scary defensive line. Held Christian Villarreal 230 yards. I know that it's still 230 yards, but if you look at his average in some of the games he has put up this year, 450, 410, averaging 350, that really says something about that defense out there in Brady. Really excited for him. Great game by Ashton Taylor. Great all around for the Brady Bulldogs. And Chadwick, we're getting into your favorite segment coming up. Before we do, here's a quick word from the ArcLight. Catch all the collegiate and pro football action at the ArcLight Bar and Grill, located at 441 Rio Concho Drive, inside the Clarion Hotel in downtown San Angelo. Chadwick, college football, man. Texas Tech got a win last week. I can see the smile on your face. You're excited. Go ahead and talk about it.
I just don't know why you got to say it like that.
No, man. You're a big Tech guy. Look at your shirt.
All right. Well, we're starting out in Division II this week. ASU also got a big win last week. They were only playing Sul Ross State, but still, a shutout's a shutout. But number 16 ASU is traveling to play number 8 Central Washington. This is a huge game for the Rams. If they want any chance of winning the LSC, they have to win this game. If they want any chance to make the playoff, they have to win this game. I know there's like a small outside chance if they lose this one, they still might get in, but they already have 2 conference losses, and that's not going to be good enough for D2 football. Moving on to D1 football. Number 13 Texas Tech travels to Kansas State to play the Wildcats. Texas Tech had a huge win over Oklahoma State last week with Will Hammond as the backup quarterback. Unfortunately, he tore his ACL in that second quarter. Baron Morton, their starter, comes back this week, but now Tech is down to their 3rd string as a backup. So if Barron goes down, that could be bad. Kansas State's a little bit of a weird matchup. They started off the year pretty horribly. They're only 4-4 in the year, but they have won the last 3 games in complete dominant fashion. In fact, I think they beat Kansas by like 40 points last week. Tech hasn't won a matchup against Kansas State in the last 5 years. Or like even longer, it might be. But I know for a fact they haven't won at Kansas State in a very long time. So it could be weird. I still like the Red Raiders in this one. That defense is still one of the best in the nation. Moving on, we got number 9, Vanderbilt, traveling to Austin to play number 20, Texas. After the, I don't even know what to call that Mississippi State game last week, man. It was an incredible comeback by the Longhorns, but I feel like they shouldn't have ever been in the hole that much. Arch Manning did get a little banged up in overtime. It looked like he just kind of landed on his knee weird, and then he smacked his head on the turf. So I'm not really sure what's actually hurting him, but I think he's going to play. I think if Arch plays, this is going to be a really good game. At Texas is a 1.5-point favorite. Vandy's played really well this year, but they have lost to teams like Alabama. I do know that the Longhorns need to keep winning if they have any chance for that college football playoff. Finally, the best team in Texas this year is number 3 Texas A&M. They are off this week. Had a huge win over LSU a week ago. In fact, got Brian Kelly fired for it. Beat him by 20 at Death Valley. And that would be college football, James, my apparently favorite segment.
Hey, whoa, what are you seeing apparently? You love Tech, man. You cover them, you drive to Lubbock and back for it. You love Tech. You know you do.
I do love Texas Tech. But I also love my Central Bobcats.
But, hey, you were out at the Aggie Mom tailgate last week for the ArcLight. What was that like, man? Was it, I mean, Joe came in and got the Mike Evans signed jersey and, auctioned it off. And what was that like out there?
Man, there was a lot of people there. And what's crazy is that jersey sold 3 times. They raised a whole bunch of money for that thing. I think it went for on average about $750 every time it was sold. So, and then after that, they sold a bat signed by one of the Texas A&M baseball players, and that didn't go as much as the jersey, but I think all told that they might have raised over $3,500 for scholarships for Texas A&M students. But there were so many people there, and it was a lot of Aggies that are excited about their football program. I know they're just as excited as all of Lubbock and all the Texas Tech alumni are about the Red Raiders this year. So it's nice to see, and it's nice that all 3 of Texas' biggest schools are ranked this year. I know the Longhorns are kind of like it's a letdown, but like they're still in the top 25, and they're still competing for an SEC championship. They're still in the mix, so I don't know, man. It was a lot of fun last weekend.
All right. Final thoughts, everybody. Paul, start us off.
Well, I guess a couple first. Like you said, the rain. It was unfortunate last week. The big Water Valley Robert Lee game we were looking forward to. It was affected by the rain. I was supposed to be there, and I didn't get to see it. But Water Valley, you just got to tip your cap to how great they looked in that game. Containing Sherwood, whatever the conditions were. Water Valley, they looked like a state title contender, except for Gordon's out there. But I mean, what a performance by them. And then my other thought would just be the big Wink El Dorado game this week. El Dorado,
that is a big one.
They've earned a district title matchup with Wink, and they're the underdog. But they were the underdog versus Iran too, and they had a big comeback for that. It's in El Dorado, so we'll see what they can do.
It's a drive from Wink to El Dorado, maybe getting them kids, Wildcats off the bus. You might be able to jump out on them. All right, Chadwick, what's your final thought?
Man, I want to see both of the SAISD schools go get big district wins this week. I think Central is the heavy favorite in this one, and I think I would consider Lakeview a favorite over Big Spring, even though it's on the road. But I want to see both our programs take the next step. Guys, keep controlling your own destiny. Keep winning district games. You won't have to worry about your seeding in playoff if you don't drop any more games.
All right. And my final thought, I wrote an article yesterday about Christian Villarreal. It's hard not to talk about him on the West Texas Football Show, and he's putting up the numbers he's putting up. But he has an opportunity to break 3 state records this year. Obviously, last week he was on pace to break the single-game rushing record. It's 599. He had 380 with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. I really think if that game plays all the way through, he'd probably hold that title record right now. Obviously, the big one is rushing yards for the year. He's under 1,200 away from it. You got 3 for-sure games coming up. Forsan and Cristobal have had their recent struggles, but he can really jump out and make it just as small as it can be come playoff time. Another one we haven't really talked about all year was the single season touchdown record. Jonathan Gray had it at Aledo, 65 touchdowns. He's got 43 right now. I mean, he puts up 7 touchdowns in each of these next 2 games. I know that's it's saying a lot. It's asking for a lot. But I think that puts him at 57 touchdowns. All you need is 9 more touchdowns to take the record. And I know 9 touchdowns is a big deal, but for Christian Villarreal, it seems like he's just walking into the end zone every game. So really excited for Ozona. Great year for him. Great offensive line in front of Christian Villarreal. Got a coach that knows that these records are out there, and they're not going to shy away from it. I don't feel, if he's told me before, hey, if he gets within spitting distance of it, we're going to hand the ball. We're not going to not hand him the ball. That'd be great for Ozona to have that record. And if he sets all 3 of them, talk about a tremendous year for Christian Villarreal. Don't know why schools aren't looking at him. ASU, come on, give him a look. This is impressive regardless. Even if he doesn't hit any of these records, he still has an incredible year this year. But those are our final thoughts. This has been Cover 1. I'm James Bouligny for Paul Harris and Ryan Chadwick.